So, not only did I do that whole rundown of the top 16 from PBG and all of the information that was collated by Definitely Jeff, I also did that with the LATAM regional put on by The Nest. Oh, there were so many shines. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this as we look through all of the top 16 from LATAM. Again, I'm sorry, we don't have an actual player count for this. I do happen to know for a fact that they played for 7 rounds and then did a cut to top 8, which is probably part of why there's a weird sort of distinction where, like, top 8, there are 2 shines, and 9 through 16 is 7 shines and a crossheart? Yeah. Anyway, I hope you all enjoy this fever dream pretending to be a top 16 rundown. Sure. Sure. Okay, it's time to go into another regional top 16. I will note before we go into this one, it's a little weird because, one, this is run in LATAM, which means some of our information might not be correct. 2, LATAM has a notable issue in the same way that Oceania does, with occasionally having trouble getting product. So, sometimes they play some slightly odd things. 3, we don't know how many people played in this, and I know how many rounds they did. It was 7, but they also did a cut to top 8, which makes this a little weird. So just a warning. That's part of why this might get a little weird very quickly. But in first place, we have Kevin Juarez's ShineGreymon list. I'm gonna say one thing right now. I love that they're running long. People can yell at me for this, but I love that they're running long, and I'm kind of tempted to do the same. What I don't love is that they're running 5 eggs. What the hell? They're running 4 of the card draw Koro, and 1 of BT9 Koro, who does... I don't remember what the hell this card does, because it's BT9 Koro. It's never come up before. Is this the DP increasing one if it has Greymon in its name? Yes, your turn while this has Agumon or Greymon. Oh, it also includes Agumon. Okay, that's not terrible then. This is, however, the first list to my knowledge that's running more than 12 rookies, because it's running 13. 3 Agu X, and still same ratio of 4 of BT13 and 2 of EX4. One day someone will get in on my deeply terrible tech. Same kind of split too with the Geogray. They've only got 2 of the EX4 Geogray and 4 of the BT12. I'm not even going to comment anymore on the fact that it's just 4 BT13 Geogray. We've all accepted this. I do like this split on Rise Grays better personally. The 4 of BT13, 2 of BT12, and then 1 Rise X. Just because if you can't Rise X on a Rise Gray, it feels a lot more unpleasant than any of the other options. I do find the 6 level 6s to be a bit much, but okay. 3 of the defensive Rise and 3 of the bursty Rise, 2 burst mode and 1 ruin mode. Honestly, really, the biggest tech here is just that they're running Lonk, which... I like the idea of running Lonk. Yes, I'm certain I'm mispronouncing it, and I don't care. The key issue that I always have with it is that, one... Actually, no, the key issue that I always have with it is that unless you have direct ways to control your own security, you're a little bit at the mercy of the card itself for how it's going to function. And in this deck, you can increase your security, kind of, but you can't necessarily decrease it. And because a bunch of decks are now running Kongyu to try and stop you from putting Marcuses into security, it actually makes Lonk at a lower security worse, because now you won't be able to move their stuff to security either. However, as a base, I love it. I've always loved Lonk. Especially if you can get it when you're at 3 security and get both effects of both -2k and move something to security, it's great. It is easily one of my favorite yellow options in the entire game. It does have the downside of not matching the color requirements of your eggs, but if you're having to Lonk, I don't think that's your big concern. I think you're much more concerned about, I need to not die now. That, or it's insecurity and you're cackling maniacally. It does feel like a lot of level 6s, though. I'm not a huge fan of that tech. Good news! We won't have to see another Shine Gray for a hot minute. In second, we have Cesar Perez's Belphemon. Once again, the 5 eggs. Do matches in LATAM just consistently go long enough that y'all need the 5th egg? Okay. I stand by that being weird in Shine Gray. In Belpha, I actually don't think it's weird. Because of Proto Gizmon popping eggs, you're more consistently able to hatch an egg every turn. But it's surprising to see it two times in a row. The Tapermon is also an interesting choice. I assume the idea being, well, I can just get it killed and I don't care about it. And wanting more... Oh! I wonder if for some reason Psychmon is inaccessible? Or just absurdly expensive, which, given that Psychmon is expensive, well, expensive for a common... Is it a common or an uncommon? Psychmon, how much do you cost? Not that Psychmon, this Psychmon. Or not cost. You are a common. Yeah, given how much Psychmon costs as a common here, I would expect it's probably expensive. But that, or not expecting to see Royal Knights, not expensive, but there's not enough for everyone, that would also be an understandable issue. So I think Tapermon, if you can't run a Floodgate, is a good extension, I guess. Like, it in a lot of ways, it's just, well, it does exactly the same thing as... No, it doesn't. It doesn't trash one. But it functions very similarly to Fascamon. It's still a way to... You can swing it into security safely to draw a card. And worst case, it's a body you can Evo into an Eismon scatter mode, or the Porcupamon. Because it is notable that they're also not running the starter deck 6. Oh my goodness. Starter deck 6 Devimon, but they do have... That is Beelzemon starter deck Porcupamon, which... has blocker and something else? Porcupa? I will never remember how the hell to spell this damn thing's name. Oh, yes I will, I'll just spell it wrong. Starter deck, Porcupa, blocker, on play, trash the top 2 cards of your deck. Interesting? I don't think it's bad, I can see why. It just does have the fundamental issue that a lot of the trash from deck cards will run into, which is that they won't trigger your Nidhogg or Underworld's Call, since they only react when trashed from hand. But it's still a blocker that you play for 4, and it's still a 4-cost body that you can get out and then eat with a Gizmon XT. Yeah, I kind of like that. And I think, again, because of the card limitations, you're seeing some more interesting choices here with... Now, we're going all in on the Nidhogg and the Underworld's Call. We're getting the cards that do stuff when we trash them from hand, so that we can get at least something going. And because both of them are not necessarily, like, amazing cards on their own, like, both were supposed to support decks that never really took off anyway. I like it. I I can very clearly see how do I put this? I like that you can see that there is a different meta in play, and that those choices have led to a deck that is not worse. It's just fundamentally built differently to deal with a different meta, and I like that. And whether you're not expecting to run into Royal Knights because it's absurdly expensive, or because you just can't get Psychmons, I think the Taper is a very solid choice. It does run into the issue then if it'll help your opponent if they're a Mirage player, but who the hell cares? Mirage has an amazing game against Belfa anyway. So, I think the Porcupa is actually a pretty solid tweak. I wish the deck could run some stuff that would work with trashing from deck, but it's one of those things where running too many of one or the other is a non-bow because they don't work together. But otherwise, this actually makes perfect sense, and I'm very here for a lot of it. It is very clean and straightforward, and I think you could fundamentally hand this to someone and go, this is a Belfamon deck. You should basically be able to pick this up pretty quickly. And I don't think it would be wrong. I think that new Porcupa might be a little bit better than the blocker Porcupa, but if you expect to need blocker, you expect to need blocker, so, I just know that new Porcupa would enable you to do the self-trashing a little bit more consistently. Because on play, pop a level 3, and on deletion, pop a level 3, and then inheritable if you Evo Astamon on it. You get the end of opponent's turn, draw 1, then trash 1. So I think new Porcupa might be a little bit better, but if you need blocker, you need blocker. Did I miscount? Because now we have another Shine, which is doing the weirdest choice I've ever seen. This one actually hurts me a little bit. So one, they're running the yellow Koro, which, look, I get why you want the yellow Koro. I think it's bad. But they're running the yellow Koro. Sorry, this is run by... I'm gonna apologize ahead of time, because I'm gonna get all these names wrong. Jera Rivalcaba? So they're running the yellow Koro, and have two different Digimon that cannot go on to yellow Koro. They're running Agumon X and Solarmon. I actually do not have a problem with Solarmon. I think it's a good tech. I think it's a very good tech, especially if in your meta, Belfa is expected to be a more significant thing. Solar's great tech, because you stop them from reducing play cost. That's just good, because that's all of Belfa's thing. Great, punish them for it, sure. Otherwise, again, this is actually pretty standard. They're still running 6 level 6s, which I feel is a lot, but they're more committed to the burst, the bursty ShineGreymon, not ShineGreymon burst mode. Yellow Mem boost because they want to make sure, I guess they really want to make sure that they hit their Shine Greys, which is also why they have the Koromon. It just always feels like kind of a rough non-bow with the, I'm gonna keep using that word, and now that I've discovered that apparently people don't use non-bow anymore. I just don't love Agu X in this. Like, in this case, I would say just accept that you have to and run the Kudamon, because Agu X can't hit any of your rookies, and can't hit any of your rookies, and can't hit Tamers, and can't hit options. And you can't Evo it in Raising. But if you go with Kudamon, or BT13 Kudamon, or personally, I have a deck profile that I'm putting out in the next couple of days, but so it's not really secret tech, but if you're gonna run the yellow egg, run BT13 Kudamon, because on play, search the top 3, you take a red or yellow, or you take a yellow vaccine, so you can take Ruin mode, you can take any of your rookies, which means they're no longer whiffs, and you take a Tamer. If you're running the red egg, as you just said, apparently BT12 or BT11 is an issue to get in LATAM, but in general, Biomon from BT11, because can Evo onto your red egg for 0. Hang on, I don't want to lose the card. Can Evo onto your red egg for 0, and on play, grab a red vaccine and a tamer. Yes, it's still bottom deck's ruin mode, but it also can hit all of your Agumons, so... I just don't love Agu X. Like, yes, you can Evo it for 0 on an Agumon, but that's pretty much its only that's its primary thing. Hello, Thunder and Lightning. Fell out of love with Agu X after this regional. It feels nice to have, but it's punished for no Evo on egg. Sucks too much, and having 2 games out of 8, yeah. Again, that's part of why I'm here for Bio, because 1... Bio and Kuda, depending on which egg base you want to run, because Bio and Kuda will both still search your top 3. They take a rookie, if that's what you have to do. If they don't, they take any of your Greymons. They still take a Tamer, and both of them have remarkably solid inheritables, and... both of them can still be evolved by Punch Marcus, because Punch Marcus only cares that the thing that he's evolving goes into a yellow Greymon. He doesn't care if it starts out as an Agumon or something. So you can use him to just now go into a Geogray on your Bio or Kudamon. Notably, I will also remind folks that the Biomon inheritable to gain 1 memory on deletion if you have a red Tamer, or if you have a Tamer, literally won me at least 1 game, because someone had to go into their Shine Gray BT12 to kill, while swinging with their Marcus in order to try and kill me, without realizing that that meant that they had to DP reduce a Geogreymon that I had out in play with a Biomon underneath it, which killed it, and then I got to go, I gain 1, go to my 1. Sure, you get 2 security hits with the Marcus, but I just push out and swing for lethal the next turn. Kuda, I don't find as much benefit for, because, so here's the thing. I don't love Yellow, Koro, or Kuda, because I don't think the DP reduction matters that much more to get, functionally in total, I think 3 extra DP reduction. Yes, it might matter, but it's so niche that I don't know if it will, to the degree that there's a list in, I think, TAC that we'll talk about that has tech that I would say is more interesting. But we'll see. Anyway, on to the next list. We have a red hybrid! Thank you! Thank you all still for playing red hybrid. I like this deck. It's goofy as all fuck, and I love it. So obviously they're still running the same egg base of the 4 Yokos. Off the, very quick reading, I think the rookies are essentially the same, because, yeah, it's the one piercing Flamemon, and then for each of the other ones. I know sometimes they'll play slightly lower numbers, but I think that's perfectly fine, and especially if you're going to be trashing them with your own Flamemons on play effect, sure, go for it. I wish I liked the Neemon. I get the idea. So Neemon for 3 on play. You play out a Tamer with an Inheritable, I believe. Neemon on play. You may play 1 Tamer card with an Inheritable effect from your hand without paying its memory cost. Which, yes, now that you have a memory setter, Takuya, actually, probably good. Because now you don't have to pay 4 for him at least, and you get a body on board that will immediately get dumpstered, but still. And then all turns, when one of your Digimon with a Tamer card in its Digivolution cards is deleted, you may play 1 Tamer card from your trash without paying its memory cost. I don't think that part matters as much, just because half of the on deletions in this deck are gonna play out a Takuya from trash, so Boko is still probably one of the best searchers in the entire game, and the memory gain is hilarious, and I love it. I like that they're playing 1 Aguni. 1 BT4 Aguni. Bite me. I like it. I don't think we see enough of BT4 Aguni. Then three of BT7 Burning Gray, 4 and 4 for the new 2, and 4 of the Alda. Honestly, this is really straightforward, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because that's what Red Hybrids does. Like, this is, once again, this is the kernel of Red Hybrids, is just, we are punching you, and you are going to die. And if we die, then we're gonna just rebuild a bunch of our stuff almost instantly. Deal. And I like that. I really like that. It's always been a case where Digimon does not have a good, like, distinctly aggro deck. Like, it has things like Rookie Rush, which usually, unless it's D-Brigade, weren't very focused on actually being an aggro deck so much as just a deck that one turn vomited a ton of rookies onto the board and went, deal with it or I kill you. This is a lot more, no, we are an actual aggro deck with some ability to recover after we get punched in the face. Sorry, this one was run by Alan Cabrera. And fucking great. Like, seriously, I'm starting to curse more, but 4th place, I think they very much earned that. Right, we start getting into some Stranger Hunters here. Once again, the rookies are pretty standard. The 2 Ikaki, 3 Drac, 4 and 4 for Psyche and Gumdra, 4 Dame, 4 Shout. The 1 2R is, it's a choice. I don't disagree with it. I have it in my list too. I just hate going into it. 4 Arrestra, 3 Clock, 2 Omni Shout, 4 Superior. Yeah. I will forever maintain that I don't actually know if Hunters needs Quartz. Like, Quartz is one of those cards that if you have the space to run Asta and Quartz, it's fine, but if you don't, a lot of the time Quartz is a try not to lose card in Hunters. Because unless your board is very full, you're gonna lose out on the memory for it. And yeah, your opponent will probably spend all of their turn killing it, but the one thing I do want to bring up is the Kongyu is an interesting choice. Mostly because I think that stops, once again, it stops Marcus from swinging, which here, you're much less worried about Marcus swinging and like dying in security, so I don't feel like it's as weird to not want the security effect to happen. This is, you just need Marcus to not swing, because when Marcus swings against Hunters, they're popping at least one of your bodies, because if they have any kind of stack, they're doing a DP reduction and eating something that's minus 3k, and that basically just says kill one of my BT4, or one of my level 4s. Like, I actually think Kongyu is good tech here. I think the deck might have trouble hitting the color requirements for it, given that Dame and you are the only 2 that do it, but I can still see getting into it pretty consistently. And I forgot again, sorry, this deck was took 5th place, run by Jesus Isamar. But it's a Hunter's deck, so there's not really that much more to say about it, because it's fairly standard, except for the Kongyu, which I think is a very cute tech to try and help Hunters in its matchup against Shine, which can be real bad. This one's weird. This one's weird. We've got Jared Elias in 6th with a Royal Knights deck, which, honestly, the only part about it that I'm saying is weird is 2 pieces. 3, because it's running 2 Kentaros Mons, which, okay. Yeah. So Kentaros Mon, sure. I guess that also gives you another card that is yellow that you can put on top of security, so it's not just Magna and Marcus, but, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's real bad outside. And then the Crimson Blaze is a card that was run in Japanese lists, but has seen almost 0 play outside of Japan for Royal Knights, because once again, especially in Royal Knights, it's much harder to hit the color requirement, and it doesn't stop King Drazel's effect. All it does is stop things like Leopardmon, or it stops, I guess it stops the Gizmons from playing out more Gizmons, which if you're expecting Belphemon to be a more significant force, it does that. Notably, it doesn't stop playing out of Marcuses, because they are technically not a Digimon until they hit the board. So, like, if you go into Shine Grey Burst mode, bounce Marcus to hand to pay for it, you then play out a Marcus, or the same Marcus. That Marcus is not a Digimon until he hits board, so stuff like Crimson Blaze can't stop him from being played. And then, yeah, we've got the Leopardmon Leopard mode, which is gonna slightly hurt my brain, because I think this only really works well when you've already Omni'd? I guess he is still technically a Royal Knight, so you can throw him under with Royal Knights of the Purge and Omekamon, and you can still get his when attacking trigger? Oh god, that's an end of turn. Okay, so the issue with Leopardmon Leopard mode is, Digivolve for 1 onto a Leopardmon. When Digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon until the end of your opponent's turn. One of your opponent's Digimon doesn't unsuspend. When attacking, by suspending one of your other Digimon, unsuspend this Digimon. And then end of your turn, trash the top card of this Digimon and unsuspend all of your Digimon. So, it's basically I need to not lose on the crackback turn. Because you Omni and can play him out, and then even if you can't do the end of your turn trash top card of this Digimon, it still then does the then unsuspend all of your Digimon. The idea being that you want to Evo this onto Leopardmon, but you can't do that until King Drazel is dead. I don't know how I feel about it. It's an interesting tech choice. I just can't decide if it's good or not. But it seems to have worked for them. Between that and the Kintarosmon is just slightly odd, and the Crimson Blaze. Like, I get it, but I don't agree with it, if that makes any sense. Oh, this next one makes me so happy. The naming convention for it doesn't, but in 7th, Frederico Ezekiel is running the name says it's a Bloom Lord, but it's like the mid-ground between Bloom Lord and Rosemon. One, I continue to love seeing Mushroomon, because that little idiot plays for 2, and I love it. 3 red veggie, 4 and 4 for both of the Sunflows, 1 Argo. This feels like a lot of level 5s. 1, 2, 3, 5. Yeah, 9 level 5s feels like a lot, but okay. And I love seeing the Lilamon, because yeah, it means that, especially with Lila and Sunflow, you can pretty consistently go into, Lala and Sunflow, you can very consistently go into Lila for pretty cheap. Play out the Yoshino, use the Sunflow or something else to get into Rosemon or Bloom Lord for relatively inexpensive. I will continue to feel like Rosemon Burst Mode is better than Quartz if you are willing to commit to it. Because she doesn't tap down your own stuff. Does she? Hang on. I know she doesn't tap down your own stuff. I'm trying to remember if she checks your stuff for when she trashes. I don't believe she does. Yeah, no. She Trash the top card of your opponent's security for every 2 of your opponent's suspended Digimon or Tamers. I personally think that more burst modes would be better than the Quartzes, but that is very much me. And, frankly, going into burst mode by burst evolution means that then you can drop, or you have to, drop back down into Rosemon, who has a really solid passive defensive ability. All turns, once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon or Tamer becomes suspended, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. So, yes, thank you, shut up. If they play a Tamer, like, if they play a Marcus to try and kill something, what they might not be thinking about is that, cool, they play and suspend that new Marcus, and you just go, and now I tap down something else before it can do something scary. You do have to avoid tapping down other Marcuses, since that will trigger their effect, since none of them need to do... That's why all of the Marcuses that we currently have don't suspend themselves by an effect. They turn themselves into a Digimon, or the one that suspends himself on play but then needs other ways to suspend himself, because they don't trigger... They don't do a thing, then I suspend to do the thing. They trigger their abilities off of being suspended. So if you, the opponent, suspend them, it doesn't matter. Like, they still get the benefit. But in general, I think the Rosemon is a very good defensive option and can help with shutting down weird stuff before it happens too much. But this also feels like kind of a weird halfway point. And I'm not sure if you need the 3 green mem boosts if you're actually going with the Yoshinos, but I can see it. In 8th place, we have Max Vargas running a... I'm going to call this Raid Gray? Yeah. Yeah, I would call this a Raid Gray. Plus, hey, oh my goodness, they're actually running BT5 Agumon as a searcher again. See, now, here is a deck where they do not care about running Agu X, because he can just hit freaking everything. So they've got BT5 Agumon as a search, they've got BT12 Agumon as a search, Promo Agumon, I'm kind of surprised to see that that's accessible at all, but okay. I guess it did just have another reprint semi-recently. Otherwise, yeah, like, their entire middle end is very solid. The only weirdness that I can... Actually, nope, I thought about it for more than an eighth of a second. I was about to say, it seems a little weird to run so few... Or to not run Virus Metal Gray X. And then I looked at it and went, no, because you're mostly trying to do Raid Metal Gray as your primary level 5, and then use its raid ability to play out your tie. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like you probably... This would have benefited from BT12 tie, but it looks like they were very much going for a much more aggro build here, because they can use their existing... so, like, all of the level 4s are either defensive or damage acceleration, then go into Metal Gray, declare attack, use raid, trigger the... That triggers raid, so you get to do the play out... or that triggers a redirect, so you can play out the tie. I just want to make sure I have one card right before I say something silly. No, oh my goodness, where are you? Not that one, this one. Yes, okay. So yeah, redirect with the Metal Gray, play out the tie for free, then use Ex-Ante to go into Metal Gray X, get a DP buff, get an additional security check, now have Piercing because of the inheritable on the Raid Metal Gray, and have yet another additional security check because of tie. Yeah, this is a kind of classic-ish attempt at doing OTK Greymon. And I don't dislike it. The Raid Gray is here because he unsuspends himself and does weird, goofy shit. The War Gray X, because frankly, War Grey X a lot of the time is your finisher, because you can use it to clear some amount of security and then regain memory off of it. Yeah, no, it's a very classic OTK deck. I don't love OTK decks, but I can see what they're going for, and it looks perfectly viable and very annoying with that BT10 Omni X. Emphasis on annoying. And in 9th. Okay, so fair warning. That one was 8th. This is 9th. 9th through 16th are all Shine Greys, because again, they did a cut to top 8. So here we are. The bottom half of the top 16 is just Shine Grey. They're just Shine Grey lists. And this one is actually very similar to one we already saw, since Yellow Egg running Agu X and Solarmons. I still don't think those two go together with the Yellow Egg, but okay. I really think you should just be running Kudamon then. And then the one piece of tech that I actually do kind of want to talk about. 2. Why are there so freaking many level 6s in these Shine Grey lists? They're all running 6. 2, that is BT2 ShineGreymon. BT2 ShineGreymon is fucking weird. And I can't decide if that's brilliant or terrible. But it does reinforce that you should definitely be running Kudamon. So this Shine Grey technically used to be the finisher for one of the more annoying yellow decks. Oof. And I've seen a couple of different Shine Grey lists talking about using, usually like newer players or more confused players, using some of the older Shine Greys. Because the thing is that there are actually a lot of cards named ShineGreymon that have been printed. The problem is that there's one from BT4, which is red. Though it can evolve onto a yellow, that means it doesn't work with Marcus, because Marcus can only evolve into a yellow Greymon. It also... there's another red one from Starter Deck 6? I think it's 6? 7. Which, again, is red. So Marcus cannot evolve into it. This Shine Grey is yellow, so at least you can evolve into it. The point where my brain gets stuck is that you can technically use a Marcus to evo into him for free. Or you can pay to evolve into him, which will then cause other weirdness. Because ShineGreymon BT2 has, when digivolving, suspend all of your yellow tamers. For each tamer you suspended this way, activate the following effect. One of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4,000 DP for the turn. It also has the passive, your turn, this Digimon gets plus 1,000 DP for each tamer you have in play. So, the point of fucking confusion is that you do that effect and suspend all of your Marcuses. Which means now every Marcus also triggers. So, yes, you can then go and activate your BT12 Marcuses to evolve into Ruin mode, or... Sorry, that was Christmas music, and while I love Christmas music, I don't feel like it's appropriate here. Or you can evolve other standing rookies and things. You also get every BT13 Marcus suspending to give minus 3k and gain a memory. The problem is all of your Marcuses that are the bodies that you swing with are now suspended. And that's the part that I'm just, like... I guess the hope is that you can get enough evolution triggers or suspensions or things to draw cards to get into a burst mode? Yes, but you can already do that with any other combination of cards. Like, yeah, it can get you into a ruin mode without passing turn, but getting into a ruin mode without passing turn is usually not the problem. And a lot of the time, you actually want to get into the ruin mode without bypassing turn, because having only minus 5k DP stops Shines from pushing out of Raising, stops Geos from pushing out of Raising because they don't want to do the Evo into Rise in Raising. And you can already get into that without passing turn by just having 2 Punch Marcuses, or a Punch Marcus and Memory Setter and anything that gains you 1 memory. And a Rise, but yeah, there are a bunch of viable ways to do this without necessarily needing this one. And if the deck had more ways to cheat bodies out widely, so that you could do multiple stacking evolution triggers, I can see it. As a one-of tech, it might be okay, but I also just don't love the fact that they're running 6 level 6s. It just feels like so many. But I get the idea behind it. I guess if you push out... I don't know. It's also the most expensive level 6 evolution in the deck, because you're paying, if you have to pay for it for real, you're paying 4 instead of 3. Like, you're paying the same to go into that you would pay to go into Ruin mode if you have to pay for it. I can see it. I don't love it, I don't think. But we'll see. I have already seen a bunch of people talking about this as an interesting tech card, so we'll see how people feel about it. That is true. It would protect your Marcuses if there is a Ruin mode effect up. I feel like teching against an opponent's... a single card to tech against your opponent's single tech card is niche at best, and that's the nicest thing I'm gonna say. Also, I don't think I actually said, this was run by Sebastian Quevedo in 9th. No, yeah, but if you also have a Mem Marcus and Punch Marcus and a Rise, you can go into this and go into Ruin mode without passing turn and then not be able to swing, which, again, I don't think that's really worth it. Or, like... I can see the corner cases where yes, you can swing and give everything minus 10k instead of give it. So I think this is the thing where people keep not getting it, is that while minus 10k for an entire turn is great, one of the most powerful things that Ruin mode does is give minus 5k one turn and give minus 5k the next turn. Because that means no Marcuses can turn into Digimon, they can't push out GeoGreymons, it functionally shuts them down for 2 turns instead of shutting them down for 1 turn but looking more impressive. I can see it, but I just don't think it's the most important. I don't think it's better than any of the other effects. Like, again, I'd maybe think of it as a one of, but I have no idea what on earth I would personally want to cut for it. Does it? Hang on, what is its on to... Oh, right, I forget that its end of attack, kills something. But that's what I'm saying, is that if you're... in a lot of cases, it is almost objectively better to pass turn by going into ShineGrey mode, because you now have... all of your opponent's Digimon have minus 5k, which means they can't turn Marcuses into bodies. You have a giant body that if they raid over, then you don't care. Yeah, I personally think it's... ShineGrey's utility comes in the fact that it is a 2-turn stall rather than a 1-turn stall. Like, the recover is fine, the Digi-Egg is really useful, but you get the most utility out of it by evoing into it, ideally locking your opponent into a relatively low memory, then swinging with it the next turn so that you can keep them locked out of using their Marcuses, keep them locked out of using small bodies, get the deletion and the recovery, and hopefully also the egg, and then get to use the egg. Because part of the problem with, like, yeah, part of the problem with the egg part is just that you don't consistently get the egg, but I can see it, but it's just very, it's very niche. I'm sorry, they're this, okay, I was about to say, are they the same list? No, they're almost the same list. In 10th place is Sebastian, Marino, yes. With the card draw Koromon, which makes a lot more sense with, actually, I think that's pretty much the only big difference, is that the card draw Koromon, the Agu, and the Solars, I think their Agu ratio is slightly different. Like, I think it's changed by 1. Yes, they have 1 more Agu X and 1 fewer BT13. No, I get what you mean. Like, and once again, the BT12 or BT2 ShineGrey is here too. I just don't think it's that vital. I think it's one of those cards that might go off really effectively. It's just so niche that I cannot see it being that useful. Like, I can see why, it's just so niche. Oh, I thought these were all ShineGrey. No, this one, run by Kevin Vargas in 11th, is a Crossheart. I just forgot that I marked it as yellow for some reason. Oh, still with the old classic tech of the Kiriha as a memory setter. And I don't feel like I've seen, is that BT11 Omnimon? I think that's BT11 Omnimon. I don't feel like I've seen BT11 Omnimon in a hot minute, or ever? 1 Star Sword. Ooh, it took me a second to parse that was a BT12 King version. I always like seeing BT12 King version. I think his primary utility here is just going to be he's another thing that you can throw under X2 Superior mode, but hey. This feels a little split in every direction, but I get what they're going for. Because they're trying to keep as many distinct names as possible while still having as much utility. So they can reduce the cost of X7 Superior by as much as they possibly can. Plus... Which makes it a little surprising that they're not running BT12 Shoutmon instead of the Crossheart boy whose name I don't remember that is a drum as their one of rookie there. Just because he counts as Oh yeah, no, I saw it. I get that. I think the Shoutmon King version is great tech. I'm just confused why they're running the drum, whatever his name is, instead of oh, because BT12 can't evo onto a yellow egg. That's why. Just because you need to have a Digimon named Shoutmon, not Shoutmon something, for X7 on the field for X7 Superior mode to do the thing where he can grab sources from trash. But I guess the hope is just, well, we'll have to use Shoutmon and Shoutmon plus Star Sword and Shoutmon King version, who on play pretends to be whoever the hell you need him to be. Actually, Omnishout pretends to be a Shoutmon, doesn't he? I think he does? Yes, is treated as Shoutmon, so yes. So they've got 5, 6, 8 cards that count as Shoutmon, but can also be different names too. Okay, I get it. Because Shoutmon King version, or Shoutmon X2, reduces its, has a Digicross of, you can use infinite cross-heart things, but they all have to have different names. What the heck is your... Okay, it is -1. Okay. So each one reduces the cost by 1. And then if you have a Shoutmon in play, you can throw that under to reduce the cost by 1 and doesn't count as one of the Digicrosses. And if you do so, then you can also use cross material from trash, which is basically so you can grab stuff like X7, X5, X4, X3, and DX, since they'll all most likely be in trash since they don't have save. They have material save, so I like it. It's interesting. I've always been personally more partial to the Merva version, and I don't like Shoutmon DX. I actually think Shoutmon DX is a trap. But if you're trying to make sure that you can reduce the cost of X7 Superior by as much as possible, and also run X7, I suppose it's fine. Because in almost every way, like, I don't like DX for the fact that if you, how does it, I want to make sure I have how it actually works down. Nope, not Omnimon. Omnishoutmon, because DX is a pain. Because it has an on-play, yeah. So, it's also treated as Omni Shoutmon and Z Greymon, Shoutmon DX. Evo's onto a level 4 red for, level 5 red for 4, or level 6 blue for 3. Material save 2 on play, not on Evo, just on play. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 8,000 DP or less. One of your opponent's Digimon can't attack until the end of turn. And then does a Digicross of reduces the cost by 3 for an Omni Shoutmon and a Z Greymon. So best case, you're paying 7. You're still paying 7. You're still paying 7 for kill something with 8k and something else can't attack. I don't love it. And then end of attack by deleting this Digimon, gain 1 memory. It's very much here because it's another name to go into X7, but I do not like that card. I think that card is a trap. And we go back into the Shine Mines. No BT2 Shine, 4 Koro, no Agu X, because they're running 4, 4, and 4. I would say they should probably run Kudamon instead, but hey. Only 1 BT12 Geo Gray, so they are embracing the try and gain memory off of EX4 cards. 4, 2, and 2 for Rises. Hey, I actually like the ratio on their Shines this time. And 2 Codys. Okay. I can see it. Every card in this is every card in this is 2 colors, so yeah. Okay. Cody, start of your turn, if you control a yellow Digimon, gain 1 memory. And your turn, when one of your Digimon, or 2-color Digimon attacks, you can suspend Cody to give a Digimon minus 2k DP until the end of turn. Which would then also trigger a whole bunch of other things. I don't think Cody's bad here. I don't know if he's better or worse than TK. I would argue he's probably worse than TK, but I don't think he's bad. Like, functionally, he's just another way to get even more memory in the same way as EX4, Agu, and Geo Gray. The other thing with running not Kuda or Bio is that it makes hitting those tamers slightly less consistent, since your only Agu search can only grab Marcus's. Your BT12 Geo can only grab Marcus's, but your BT13 can grab Cody out of security, so at least that's a viable choice. It's an interesting piece. This was, 12th place by Victor de Velasco. In 13th, we move on to a Shine Gray list that's a little bit toolboxy, apparently. Run by Jean Bonnet, or Jean Bonnet. I don't like this egg split. I really don't like this egg split. 2 of BT9 Koro, 3 of BT13 Chiaro. Chiaro, what the fuck do you do? Because I'm pretty sure this Chiaro triggers when you remove something from security. Your turn, once per turn, when a card is removed from your security stack, one of your Digimon gains jamming for the turn. I get it. But also why? Because you're running 2 Agu X's, so you can't Evo onto them. That one just hurts my brain a little bit. Yeah, the Chiaro is a cute idea, I guess, to make it safer to swing with your Greymons or your Agus to try and get the card draw off of the Koro, but that requires that you have both eggs pushed out at the same time. Okay. But they do have slightly more stuff pulling things out of security because they are running the 1 TK. Only 1 of BT13 Rise and 1 of BT2 Rise. Lonk, Yellow Mem Boost, Rise, Sunrise Buster, and Shining Blast. Okay. Does Shining Blast... I think I'm 90% sure how Shining Blast works, but I want to make sure. Okay. So Shining Blast, you may play 1 Marcus Daemon from your hand without paying the cost. Then, for each red or yellow tamer you have in play, 3 of your opponent's Digimon get minus 2,000 DP for the turn. I guess? Like, I don't see anything wrong with it, I just... Why is everyone so anti-Final Shining Burst? Like, it just kills big shit. Okay. Like, I can very much see it. I just... There's a very good chance that we're gonna start hitting the point where I'm just fucking sick of looking at Shine lists. However, this one's weird. Because they're all weird, but still. Why is it that it's either they're either running Card Draw Koro or Agu X. Never both of them when they're the only thing that works properly together. Whatever. The key tech here is one that I actually need to go read because I don't fucking remember what it does. Because that's BT13 Garudamon. Who, on play and on when digivolving, you may play 1 red tamer card with a play cost of 3 or less from your hand without playing the card. I get the feeling the card was not read before being put into the deck. Because that does nothing in this deck. Like, it has an on deletion to delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6k DP or less, but it literally cannot play either Marcus. It straight up does not. I mean, there is no tamer in this deck with a play cost of 3 or less. And it's clearly in the slot where you would normally have Rise Gray to play out Marcus's. And that also means you're missing your primary source of Marcus, the primary source of the effect that puts Marcus to security. It also makes no sense when you're running Yellow Mem Boost, because Yellow Mem Boost can't hit it. Because it's mono red. I wonder if that was actually supposed to be a Rise Gray. I don't, yeah. The fact that they, 14th place run by Alexis Rojas. The fact that they got to 14th place with that is kind of impressive. Okay, this is number 14. What number is Rise Gray? Load enough so I can tell what I misspelled. 15? Yeah, there's a good chance this was just entered wrong, but hard to tell, because Garuda is BT13-014 and Rise Gray is BT13-015, and given that they have 3 burst modes and 5 Marcuses, I feel relatively confident in saying that they probably would have opened 3 of a common. But I don't know for sure. Soon 10th, I think we might be free. Sadly, the only insert something ussy is the Hydrasy, and I have no proof that anyone who's running Bloomlord was running the Hydrasy, which makes me very sad. In 15th place, we have Gerardo Herrera. I'm certain I screwed up your name, I'm sorry. With... this is actually probably the closest thing to a straightforward... Oh, God. And then I looked at something. This is probably the closest thing to a mostly straightforward Shine Gray we've seen, because Red Koro and Agu X, they've done it! Someone's finally done it! However... they're running 4 of new Rise Gray, so very defensive. 2 of old, or Shine. 2 of new, or 2 of old, oh my god. 4 of the new ShineGreymon, the one that makes a Marcus into a blocker. And when a Tamer suspends once per turn, gives something minus 6k, which functionally makes the not punch Marcus give minus 9k when he suspends. 2 of the slightly older Rise from BT12, only 1 burst mode, but 2 ruin modes. So someone is very determined to ruin everyone's day. I did not mean that as a joke, but as soon as I said it, I'm sticking with it. Yeah. It was so close to feeling like a mostly straightforward deck, and then I saw the 2 ruin modes and went, oh god. Oh god. Hey, we actually have I think this is the... Oh, no! Why? Why are you doing this? Okay. Annoyance. Finally running red Mem Boost in a deck with red eggs. And 2 of BT2 Shine Gray, who is yellow and cannot be hit with red Mem Boost. The good news is, this was Raphael Digadillos? 16th place. So we're free! This is the last one! I just have to go, why? Why are you the one person running red Mem Boost in a red-based deck where it works, but you're running 2 of the mono yellow shine? Okay. That one hurts my soul a little bit, but especially my brain. It's coming out my ears. Good news is, we got that one done in like an hour, which is great because, we still have one more regional to cover. Yay. I hope you enjoyed that wild ride with me. If you enjoyed what you saw, please consider subbing here on YouTube, or you can find this exact same content live over on Twitch at twitch.tv/layeroflore. You can find everything that I do over at beacons.ai/layeroflore, or just go to layeroflore.com and you'll be able to find everything. As a reminder, thank you very much for your support, because everything that I do is brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you very much to April, Fragile Paper, Pinball Witch, Yalc, and Pimento. I quite literally could not do this without all of you. Thank you for your support over on patreon.com/layeroflore and coffee.com/layeroflore. I hope y'all have fun with this and anything else on my channel. It's gonna be a long week.